Hey guys, Collin Chi, certified nutritional consultant, bringing you another talk. Today I just kind of want to ramble a little bit about the self. So honor thyself, know thyself, trust thyself, and it might help you to heal thyself. And it might help to change your health if you do these things. So what does it mean? What does it mean and why is it important to honor thyself, trust thyself, and know thyself? A couple of these are ancient maxims. I think it was Aristotle or Socrates that said, know thyself. It was Emerson mainly that championed trust thyself, among other people. And then honor thyself, Nathaniel Branden. These guys are smart dudes, folks. Carl Jung put an emphasis on individuation, the importance of knowing the self and that each person is an individual. The book Biochemical Individuality put emphasis on that each person is different. Each person is an individual, and we must personalize nutrition. Astrology understands this. Numerology understands the differences between people. Yes, we're all human, but we are all very, very different. And knowing thyself really helps us to know others a lot better. And to not be as conditioned and programmed and cut off from our true existence. I think Emerson had a quote that was something like, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And it is an accomplishment because on all sides you have pressures everywhere that are telling you not to think for yourself and not to be yourself, because you've got the billboards out there, you've got the TV ads, you've got the parents, you've got schooling, your education. It's all conditioning you into a mindset that's not your own. You don't own your own mind. And we need to own our own minds, folks. And we need to think for ourselves. And it's the best happiness and the most grounded you can be, because you're not as scattered all over the place when you have a deep understanding of who you are. And this can only come from a lot of observation and following the trails of each one of your thoughts and believing that your thoughts are actually important, having the courage and having the confidence that you are important, that you have something profound to say and something profound to think in your head, and that you are not just receiving thoughts, that you can actually activate and control your mind and control your thoughts and use them to your advantage or disadvantage, and it's all this awareness, it's mindfulness, it's Zen principles, it's there's so many different people that have really championed this. And you've got the perceptive versus the conceptual type people that Ayn Rand delineates. The people that are simply on a level of perceiving consciousness, and people that are on the level of conceptualizing and basically forming their own ideas about things. That's all that means, and that comes from knowing thyself, trusting thyself, honoring thyself. Listen to that inner voice. Emerson had a big emphasis on listening to your inner voice. Obey thy conscience. He always said, and it even goes into some other very interesting characters like Terence McKenna. Culture is not your friend. The programming and the conditioning that infiltrate your minds, we have to take back our minds from our conditioning and from our culture that's indoctrinating us into beliefs that are not our own. They're not founded on our own experience and our own deep introspection, our own hints and studies about ourselves, or the self-tests that we do. You can do many tests to determine what your health is like. You can do adrenal self-test, candida spit test. You can do genotyping. You can get a genetic S&P test. You can get an ancestry test. You can test yourself. You can measure the length of your the ring finger and index finger. That tells you the levels of hormones that were in the womb when you were developing as a fetus. You can. There's just so many. You can really iridology. You can study your eyes and look at what they tell you. You can do typology, like Myers-Briggs typology. Personality tests. Individualize. You got Dr. D. Adamo, who mentions blood type diets, the importance of blood type. Personalize your nutrition. Be your own everything, folks. Be your own astrologer. Be your own numerologer. Direct your own life. Be your own life coach. Be your own nutritionist. Be your own doctor. Be your own doctor. Be your own everything, because it's the only true way to any real truth in your life. This is the most important thing in your existence, is to know thyself, trust thyself, honor thyself. Be thyself is a lot more complicated, because there's nature, there's nurture. Where do we draw the line? Do we draw a line? What the heck is the self? The Buddhist concepts of no self are out there. Or rather, it's really just finding the true self, which is found in no self, in a way, in Buddhism. East versus West. There's many different concepts of what the self is and how many selves we have. I've got a good understanding through astrology and numerology that we are very complex, folks. We are very complicated beings. There's a lot that we bring in our nature, and there's also a lot that we change from our nurture. They're both important. It's not one or the other. We are a combination. You can match the fingerprints on your right hand versus your left hand. The palmistry, the lines on your left hand versus your right hand. The left hand, some people believing more what you're born with in palmistry. The right hand, what you've done with your life. In genotyping, you look at the fingerprints on the right versus the fingerprints on the left. How symmetrical they are tells you the health that was the womb that you were in as a fetus. Good symmetry in your face, in your there's so many things. Do you have an apple-shaped body? Do you have a pear-shaped body? Do you have that can tell you different levels of hormones. Maybe you're more estrogenic, maybe you're more androgenic, maybe you have more stress. The different doshas in Ayurvedic medicine can tell you things. Looking at your tongue diagnosis, fingernail analysis, Chinese medicine analysis through palpation, checking the wrists to determine. All these things give you a better understanding of yourself. You can go get some x-rays, some MRIs, some EEG scans, some brain scans. Think about what level of brainwaves your brainwaves are on. Are you alpha? Are you beta? Are you gamma? Are you delta? If you're delta, you're probably asleep, but these different brainwaves determine behavior. Everything is the self, folks. What I'm trying to say is, you gotta know the self, because it's the only foundation that's gonna get you anywhere in your life. We really have too strong of a tendency to listen to what our parents tell us to do, or listen to what the influences around us are telling us to do, and it really screws us up, and it really causes confusion and scattered energy, and just misadventures, and problems to come into our life, and more karma. Do you rest on what you are, as Emerson said, essentially go with your nature, or do you go against your nature, or do you do both? It's complicated, but you can have conversations like this when you study yourself. There's a number of philosophers, as I said, psychologists, biochemists. These people all understand the importance of individuality, and there is no one-size-fits-all diet. There is no one-size-fits-all shoe. There is no one-size-fits-all anything. You are a unique, powerful, you are so disempowered you don't understand your power. You have the power to draw to you what you want to draw to you in your life. This is the law of attraction. You have the power to create your reality. Now that gets complicated too, and some people who are on this heady scientific slant will say, oh, the people that are law of attraction, it's not scientifically valid, really. I've studied quantum physics, and they're just rationalizing and just kind of warping out of proportion, blah, blah, blah. But you have to understand the wisdom of the East, the other cultures that understand the limits of science. Objective science, Newtonian science is kaput. Quantum physics is real. Yes, there's more to it than you just draw things, to yourself, but and that you can just think things and they'll appear. There is more to it, but on a very deep level, it's very true. And you will only know how true it is once you really begin to become the right person, and that's where knowing the self and not making excuses, not living in denial of yourself will bring you to better clarity and better progress and more power in your life. You're going to have a lot more power when you know yourself. You can really start to accept yourself more. You can really start to accept other people more. That's the key thing. And that's why I've said that astrology or numerology or any of these typologies, but especially astrology because it's so complete and complex, is one of the few subjects it may possibly be the one subject that could save all of humanity if we really got a very thorough understanding of it back again like we used to in all the ancient Egyptian cultures and the Mayans and Sumerians. There is nostalgia for the ancient, and it's like green, grass is greener on the other side, but in the level of spirit and soul and emotions and living close to nature in reality and close to the self, contiguous with yourself, they were there. We are not. We are away from ourselves. Yes, part of the human condition is to go against nature in a way and to transcend the self. We do it all day. We transcend the self. So there is a level of transcendence that's important, and there are importances of going beyond the self and not, I'm not advocating being selfish or I'm just advocating trusting yourself, knowing yourself, honoring yourself more than anything. We don't honor ourselves. We don't listen to ourselves. The Invention of Lying, if you've ever seen that movie, check it out. His main insight at the end is a guy that basically becomes God pretty much, and or I think he's the first one to invent lying, and in a way he basically becomes God because he can lie, he can say whatever. And anyway, the insight he comes to in the end is that nobody listens to themselves. And that's a big insight. And because all these people want him to help, he becomes this messiah of sorts, and they want him to cure their disease and help everyone. They all want him to help them. Help me, help me, help me. And he's saying, help yourself. Help yourself, folks. The self-help section in the book section. Check it out. It has its limits too, because some of those people are nuts, but some of those people have some truths. You have to filter all of this from yourself. Listen to Walt Whitman. He said something basically of the essence, filter everything from yourself. Don't take anything at second hand. Take things always at first hand. That means from yourself. Don't listen to other people. That's second hand knowledge. Study, observe, experiment. Do it yourself. Do the experience. Terence McKenna would tell you, you must do the experience. You can't just take second-hand knowledge. You have to have first-hand knowledge, which is you going through it. So I just wanted to ramble about this because I'm planning a book that's going to come out. It's probably going to be 5-10 years in the making, possibly. Who knows when I'm going to get it out, but basically there's going to be an emphasis on the self. So I'm doing numerology consults. I'm doing nutritional consults. If you want a consult, send me an email, collinchi@gmail.com, and I'll respond to that as quickly as possible. If you want a numerology consult, it's $150 per minute. If you want a chart, it's $30. If you want an explanation of the chart, it's an additional $20. So that's $50 total. If you just want a full birth chart that gives you all the insights into who you are, among other, it's just one tool. There's other ways to divinate who you are, and even filter my information from yourself still. And always trust yourself on what these numbers are telling you. But you can send me a message. We can sit down on Skype for 10, 15, 20 minutes, $150 a minute. If you'd like a nutritional consult, I'm the guru on nutrition, folks, as you know. So that is $1 a minute on Skype. Send me a message, collinchi@gmail.com. Also check out my website, www.cafepress.com/collinchi C.N.C. You can pick up t-shirts related to health and self-knowledge and just great stuff. I'll put some other links down in the description if you want to check out any other sources of interesting stuff that I have to offer. Bottom line, know thyself, trust thyself, honor thyself. Don't forget it. You're going to have a better life. You're going to be a lot healthier, and you will rise. Rise.